This video is not about covering basics of anxious attachment style, and instead I would love to dive straight into what needs to be done to heal it. However, before I get to the actual specific steps, I'm going to cover just a few fundamentals so you understand and see the logic behind why we target specific aspects when working on healing anxious attachment style. So individuals with anxious attachment style lack a fundamental sense of safety because their early experiences with caregivers were inconsistent or unpredictable. It is a very common explanation, and I know you know it, but I want to give a few examples of what can trigger the development of an anxious attachment style, because it does not necessarily take a lot. A parent doesn't have to be neglectful or abusive at all, because really any kind of inconsistency in early caregiving can be enough to activate development of anxious attachment style later in life. Science still doesn't fully understand why one child develops anxious attachment while another in a similar situation does not. But here are a few perspectives, and these ideas are not scientific, they don't have any research base, but I think that some of you might find them interesting in explaining this phenomenon. For example, transpersonal psychology suggests that we do not start as blank slates. Some of our emotional patterns may already be imprinted before birth. It also explores the idea that a child chooses their family, so these imprints, including traumas, can be activated, creating the conditions for their souls to fulfill the path they were meant to take. This sort of reminds me of astrology. So in astrology, your birth chart, also called natal chart, is a map of the sky at the exact moment you were born, and it is believed to reflect different aspects of your personality and life experiences. And one key part of this chart is the moon, which represents your mother and early emotional experiences. And if something of that sounds any interesting to you, if you're curious, you can look up your moon's connections to other planets, and these are called aspects, and they can symbolically reflect patterns in how you process emotions and attachment. I just think that can be another tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Okay, but back to our topic. Example of inconsistencies that can contribute to development of anxious attachment style. For example, breastfeeding ended abruptly. Just think about this. A child had something good going on and then it ends abruptly. This experience later might cause a person to live in constant anxiety that positive things in their life would come to an abrupt end. During pregnancy and the first year of life, the mother and child exist in symbiotic relationship, meaning that the child is deeply connected to and dependent on the mother's emotional state for a sense of security. So if a mother did not feel safe during pregnancy or throughout the first year of life, it can also contribute to the development of an anxious attachment style. If there is a drastic change, and the change doesn't have to be a bad change. For example, such a change as arrival of a sibling with just a 1 year age difference. It can also contribute to the development of an anxious attachment style. Just for this fact alone, that a mother has to separate from her child for a few days to give birth to a second child. And this marks a significant break in the consistent presence that is very crucial for the child's sense of safety. Why am I mentioning these examples? I usually recommend asking your mother how she felt during pregnancy and your first year of life. Well, ideally the first 4 years of life. Not what she did, not what happened, but how she felt. And her emotional state during that time can provide valuable insights into your own feelings and patterns. The main point here is that if a fundamental sense of safety was not developed in early childhood, the primary background feeling throughout life will be fear. Perception of the world, relationships, and the idea of closeness are going to be shaped through the lens of fear. Also, fear is going to be particularly difficult to tolerate because the nervous system was not. There is a chance that it was never properly conditioned to regulate it. The child's nervous system remained in a heightened state of fear without resolution, and as a result, relies on external people to regulate and soothe it. So naturally, to heal anxious attachment style, we need to work with a fundamental sense of safety, external safety, create an external safety for ourselves, and fear. So technically, once you develop a fundamental or a strengthen or develop a fundamental sense of safety or internal sense of safety, what's outside will mirror it. People with an anxious attachment style don't just experience it in relationships with others. It also manifests in their relationship with their body, with money, food, and other aspects of life. Drop in the comments below if you notice how anxious attachment style influences other aspects of your life rather than just influencing relationships with other people. So now finally got to the recommendations. And number one, is about internal sense of safety. Attachment style disorders develop before a child learns to talk, which is why these traumas are called pre-verbal. They are stored in the body and emotions, not in words, and making them difficult to access it through language alone or through talk therapy alone. In my experience, one of the fastest ways to heal attachment wounds is through metaphor work. Metaphors are the language of the subconscious mind, and it allows us to bypass psychological defenses and directly rewire deep-seated subconscious patterns. This is why meditations, visualizations, and imagery-based exercises that focus on representations of safety effective in reshaping attachment responses. Another key block in building a sense of inner safety is learning how to regulate yourself, meaning you develop the ability to manage your emotional states without relying excessively on external reassurance. There are a majority of techniques, and some of them do require extensive training, but the simplest one would naming the emotion, breathing, then saying that it is safe for me to feel, and then writing it out. And I want to draw your attention to breathing here. Do not underestimate the power of breath work. Breathing not only calms you down, that's directly working with your body. And trauma lives in your body. Trauma does not live in your mind. It lives in your feelings and in your body. Emotions are given to us as a way to navigate life, helping us respond to different situations. The problem starts when true emotions get confused with neurotic emotions, emotional reactions that are actually echoes of past trauma rather than response to the present moment. For example, fear is a healthy response when you are in danger. For example, when you're alone in winter, in forest, naked, it signals real danger and the need for survival action. But when you feel fear in a situation where there is no actual threat to your life, it is likely connected to a past experience, not the present reality. Here is how it works with an anxious attachment style. People with this attachment style subconsciously project the role of their caregiver onto their partners. This means they instinctively believe that their partner is more capable, knows better, and is responsible for their emotional regulation. They look to their partner to soothe their anxiety and provide a sense of stability. So when a partner distances or withdraws, the nervous system interprets it as a life-threatening event. It literally triggers the same horror and fear as if a baby was losing his mother, their only source of safety and survival. This is why anxious attachment creates such intense emotional distress when there is uncertainty or distance in a relationship. the body is reacting as if it's experiencing early abandonment all over again. And it experiences not just some fear, it experiences fear of annihilation, a proverbial fear of ceasing to exist, which forms in infancy when a child hasn't yet developed a stable sense of self. So basically, for some people with anxious attachment style, distance equals a threat of non-existence. So speaking of working with fears, the more you build internal safety, the less trauma, fear you will naturally experience. However, when overwhelming fear arises, it is important to acknowledge and process it rather than suppress it. One way to do this is by either, it's very important to say it out loud or write it down, not hold it in your mind. And it's important to concentrate on impulses in your body. So again, if you're trying just to process this in your head, analyze it or understand, it's not going to do anything because again, trauma lives in your body. So concentrate on the impulses. So how you can do that? You can ask yourself this question: if I were an animal, what would I do if I had these feelings? And you can just picture an animal, like what is it doing? And you might feel the urge, run, attack, or hide, or be restless, or trying to cling to something, like to your, I don't know, tribe. Is it called tribe for animals? Impulse of joining something bigger than you, like a pack of animals, or clinging to something that is stronger, or an impulse for anxious attachment style. It's usually the underlying impulse is emerging or becoming one with someone. And if you just say it out loud, if you just it's already going to give you relief. After identifying the leading impulse, allow yourself to fully experience it in your imagination. Visualize it, feel it in your body, and breathe through it. Again, you have to breathe through it. And then shift into creating safety, but that would remind how a child would feel in the first year of life. It was in its safe surround. And so basically you can use a weighted blanket, you can hold yourself or swaddle yourself to provide a feeling of security. You can create a safe, comforting space in your home where you can retreat where when fear arises. Hug you, like you can literally hug yourself and kind of like gently stroke your arms. And that alone is going to, like, you can rock. That also kind of reminds of when a mother holds a baby. So basically, you can stroke your arms to activate self-soothing. And as you do this, you can repeat affirmations, something like that. Fear is just energy moving through me, and I allow it, I release it. It is safe for me to feel fear. I accept it. Even when I feel fear, I still love and accept myself. And this practice helps you process fear rather than be consumed by it. Teaching your nervous system that fear is not something to be avoided, but something that can move through and release naturally. Remember that emotions are a part of you, not something separate and not something that can overpower you. This means you are bigger than them and they move through you, but they do not define you. When fear, anxiety, or any intense emotion arises, remind yourself, I am the space that holds this emotion. I can feel it without being consumed by it. And I would want to also say a few words about the importance of creating external safety on your own. Realize that your partner is not responsible for creating a sense of safety for you. If you feel safe only when you are with them, it means you are relying on them for emotional regulation instead of developing it within yourself. Focus on creating financial stability and avoiding toxic environments. Reduce unpredictability where you can, especially at work, because any external stress, even if it's not romantic, can trigger the anxious attachment pattern. For example, stress at work may lead to an automatic impulse to check your phone to see if your partner texted you, rather than rather than dealing with the actual stressor. This happens because in anxious attachment, there is a subconscious belief that the partner is stronger, more capable, and the main source of protection and stability. This often leads to idealizing the partner. Many people don't even realize that they get stressed in one area of life, but then seek relief and emotional regulation through their partner instead of addressing the root issue. I had many people that would want to work on their relationships, but deep down, their real anxiety was about their career or financial stability. Anxious attachment often causes you to shift anxiety from other areas into relationships because the psyche projects all its strength onto the partner, making them the focal point of unresolved stress. And here is maybe a very silly test, but I know a few people that like that and it worked for them, so I'm going to share it with you. Ask yourself, if I had all you can try two options. So here's one that sounds like this: if I had all the money in the world, would I still be with this person? Would I still worry about this connection as much as I do now? Many people associate money with the safety, which is also a misconception, but this quick mental exercise can help bring down emotional tension and highlight whether the anxiety is about the relationship itself or a deeper fear and issue with safety in general. Or you can substitute the word money and say, and see how you react when you say, if I had all this, if I was 100% sure I am safe, would I still be with this person? Would I still feel this anxious? I feel that we covered a lot in this video, and if you were able to follow through, give yourself a hug. And please feel free to ask any questions in the comment section or share your experiences or any resolutions if this video inspired you for them. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.